Welcome to 13. Let's jump right in, guys. So, the last couple of weeks, we've talked about the DoorDash change to the customer side. We're always talking about the driver side, but we've been talking about the customer side. We've been talking about this new, um, if you don't leave a tip, this forced screen that comes, and what are the benefits to the drivers? Drivers, for the most part, are not happy with this. I'm sure that the PR of it is getting past maybe some of the part-timers, and we do have to remember that 85% of the gig economy work of the app platform-based gig economy works 15 hours or less a week, meaning they have another job. They do this 1 or 2 nights a week on the weekends, whatever. This is side income to them. They probably don't do a ton of research. However, mainstream news has started hitting even those that do the part-time work. So they're seeing this, and once that's a problem, because once they start seeing it, then they're like, wait a minute, am I supposed to be being paid more? And that will become an issue, because right now they're just like, well, I just do, they don't come onto YouTube or other platforms to check out, are other people experiencing this? They just go and do it a couple days a week. But now they might start, because even mainstream media is reporting on this. Now, what is DoorDash's plot? Um, what are they aiming for here? To be honest, I think that they're going to take away this advertisement right after the Thanksgiving holiday, if not shortly before, or at least before December 1st, and then start focusing on the holidays and Christmas. I've already seen some holiday ads from DoorDash, but I believe this is just PR stuff. And my guess is that we'll see it removed from the app to that forced screen about a tip. Maybe they'll still leave some language in there, like and you should be tipping, or you'll get better service or whatever. But this week, on the roundtable, we talked about this, and I've been really looking into this and doing some talking with a lot of people in the space, even some CEOs and some people at some smaller companies, to say, you know, explain to me why this wouldn't be good. And I didn't take it to him till I had really thought this through. But, you know, are we tipping, or are we bidding the customers on, let's just be okay, this could be applicable to many different platforms, but today let's just keep it to food delivery. Are we tipping, or are we bidding? I mean, right now the customers are tipping. However, if you've used the apps, us drivers, if you've used them or at least seen the customer side, you understand when you're going through and you've picked your restaurant, you've got 4 people you're ordering for, you've been to this restaurant before, you know that you kind of know what an average of what, when you take your family of 4 out to this restaurant, what it would cost when you guys go out. So now you're on an app and you're deciding to order it. So now there's you know, now you order your items. Those items are all marked up from the restaurant's prices. So it's already costing you more, but you're probably not sensing that yet. Now you see the service fee thrown in, you see the delivery fee thrown in. And both of those are dynamic. And I'm pretty sure most of you know what that is, but dynamic, in case you don't, just put simply, is there is no rhyme or reason to the pricing. If every day you ordered the same items at the same time of day from the same platform, from the same restaurant, the pricing would still be different. It would not be the same price every day at the same time. I mean, it's based on many other factors, which again just proves, first of all, the menu items being marked up, then the volume of drivers on versus the demand. It's, I mean, to the customers, it's very confusing. And DoorDash being down 20% on their volume, there, a lot of that was, we saw in proportional loss to catering. Catering is losing them hand over glove, and that's why all these catering apps are starting. So kudos to the catering apps. 2024 could be full of catering apps that actually know how to do catering. DoorDash is a food delivery platform that decided to offer catering, but as somebody who's been in the bar and restaurant industry for over 25 years, I can tell you guys, catering's a different game. That's not just simply picking up food, delivering it. There's a whole lot to the real catering. So were companies using DoorDash for catering? Absolutely. Are they now? Not as much, not very much, because there's a lot of real catering companies out there. DoorDash is just simply a SaaS for food delivery, and that's it. So back to tipping or bidding though. Would we be better off? So here's one thing I want to tell you guys, that the legislation I've seen, now there's legislation for, we don't know exactly which states will do what, but there are 15 plus states that are introducing gig worker app platform based gig worker legislation. Now, these states are trying to make it so it doesn't affect every independent contractor like AB5 in California did, where it ruined careers. And then the gig apps still got to carve out with Prop 22. For those of you that don't really understand that, I have a lot of pieces on there. Just leave a comment and I'll reply with some pieces you should watch, because you should understand what AB5 did. AB5 produced no jobs and killed 2 million careers in California. Prop 22 was an exemption to that. And so it wasn't like Prop 22 on its own was created to benefit gig workers. It was that gig workers weren't going to be exempt from AB5 without it. And so the deal isn't as pretty as it looks. It is beneficial, but it's beneficial to delivery drivers, not to rideshare, which it was intended for rideshare. But in these legislative changes that are coming in 2024, I can tell you this. From the ones I've looked at, we'd be a lot better off, and honestly, so would the companies, under a bidding system. And I understand this is quite an undertaking, because you would need to inform the customers. You would need to, I mean, this would be a whole advertising dynamic plan. But here's my thing. If the Flex Association, which is Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Lyft, if they can get together to raise $218 million to push a proposition in California, well, then they can raise some money to together make sure that, PR and advertising get out there on how the new system works. Because let me tell you this, a lot of people hate upfront tipping. I mean, to see, here's what I'm ordering, here's the fees. Oh my gosh, I'm already at this. And to get to that last screen, and they've increased the fees too. So now it's like even more. And we're in a recession, and people are hit by inflation. People are watching their money. The economy's slowed. Holidays are coming up, all kinds of factors. So the bidding system will work a lot better if that is introduced, especially in the states where legislation is coming. So the bidding system would look like this. So it would look, I mean, I can't tell you exactly how it would look, but the idea behind it is to have, you order your food, you order your, you see all the fees, you get to the last page, and now you're putting in a bid for a driver. If you put in 0, it would literally spit back, if you don't bid on a driver, they aren't paid. So, I mean, this is where the companies would have to come together, the Flex Association, to come up with this solution of how to approach this. But it would have to say something along the lines of, without putting a bid in, you're not offering any pay to the driver, therefore your order will not be picked up. And then have maybe have some guidelines. It's right now the average bid, and have it go based on day, time, and volume. The average bid right now is $11, and then have an after the fact tip as well. But you've got to put in a bid for their service. And yes, would this make it so that the apps have to be transparent? Yes. But, and I hate this, but this would have to be part of it, is that, yes, they would be meeting independent contractor standards by the IRS Barella ABC test. However, they don't want us seeing things. So would this make them be fully transparent? Yes, it would, with us on our pay or what the bids are, but they don't have to show us what the order total is. That would be awesome, and we all want that, but that's not required to pass the independent contractor test of if your drivers are independent contractors. If they were just transparent with the miles, pickup, drop off, and the total amount you'd be paid. That's really all they need to do. Um, so the other thing about a bidding system is it aligns much better with being truly independent. We see in Canada, Skip the Dishes and DoorDash have both issued out that, starting in January, you need to have your our versions of an SSN or an EIN, um, for tax purposes, meaning true independent contractor status. So who knows what's coming there? But it's a good idea because there's a lot of push about we're going to make you follow these guidelines. If your workers can't pass this test, there's states out there that are going to have fines for over saturating on certain nights. Like if they come up with pars, like on this night you can have this many drivers out. If they have more, they'll be fined per driver. I mean, there's so many different ways these laws are being approached. Um, but the biggest thing that almost every state is pushing for, especially every state pushing legislation, is demanding this. And some of them have even separated it from the legislation they want. Is this one isn't like, hey, we want to see this, this, and this, and they'll talk about it and see what they can come up with. They are demanding that acceptance rate be removed from the apps. Acceptance rate does not meet the standards of any of the ways going back to 1950 of how to determine whether an independent contractor is a true independent contractor or not. Acceptance rate has actually been addressed and has proven to be a metric where if in any way it is being used, it can be weaponized against people that you don't want to hire for whatever reason without you having to give a reason. It's a long story, but the bottom line is acceptance rate has to go. That has no bearing on independent contractorship, and they are demanding that. So, food for thought: bidding or tipping? Leave it in the comments, please. I want to see what you guys think. Also, Monday or this coming Monday, I will be doing a live recording for the 300th podcast of the Rideshare Rodeo. My co-host will be Sergio Avedian from the Rideshare Guy. And I'm going to produce this idea to him, as well as we're going to talk about some of the legislation that's coming out. And yes, that is what needs to happen on the 300th anniversary episode, because that's the most important thing going on right now. Each of us are taking hits on the platforms, but the most important thing is what's going to happen in the new year. That said, that's 13 minutes of news. And I'll see you back here next week. Peace.